Hello viewers, this is kind of like an impromptu video I'm doing. I wasn't planning or thinking about this video. A lot of times I will mentally have a list of videos I want to do, or I stage, this chair's noisy because it's up against the wall, or I kind of stage things I want to, subjects that I want to do videos on. In fact, you can't see it on this camera, but I have like probably five videos. Six kind of videos staged, and that's pretty typical, and I kind of move it along. Anyway, this I was coming back from a workout this morning, and ironically, I did a video while I was driving back because I was in the Lincoln. They're just talking about some of the stuff going on at the Lincoln, and just enjoying that. And before I even turned the camera on while I was driving, and yes, I do it in a safe fashion, a couple things happened, right? Well, I was just recently outdoors running, and there's this four-way intersection, and at that hour, there's really nothing. I'm talking about the 5:30 in the morning hour. And yeah, there's a car that may pop by because as the world's starting to wake up. But as I'm coming up on the intersection, as I'm running, the light's red. I watched this Cadillac, like newer Cadillac sedan, nothing too exciting these days with Caddy, but pulls up. So my point being is it was a nice car. Like, it wasn't just this degenerate coming through. Goes right up to the light, stops, goes right through the red light. And I get, like, that annoys me. Like, I get it, like there's like nobody around, like they stopped, they treated it as a stop sign is basically what they did. But maybe it's just because I'm such a rule follower. It's like, okay, well, they put that light there for a reason. And yeah, I get it, like there's not gonna be high volume traffic 24/7, but there's not a sign that says if no cars are coming the other way, you can proceed cautiously. Like, it's just annoying. So that's just one incident, right? And the reason what set me off with this video is because over the course of 6 months, a year, whatever it is, I just feel like there's been more of a change in behavior of people. Like, the point being is, it's like, if you don't like the rules, well, who cares? Do what you want to do, because there's not going to be any consequences. Like, that's really what I'm observing, So that was just this morning. And then the other thing I observed is I'm following, like, on my way back, I'm driving behind it's like this little van, right? And we're doing speed limit, it's fine. And all of a sudden he just veers off and makes a left turn, like, and I'm slamming on my brakes, and I lay on the horn. It's just like a turn signal. I don't want to use a turn signal, so I'm not going to, even though it's like you're supposed to. I'm not going to do it because I can't be bothered. If the person behind me can't figure out that I'm turning, then too bad for them. Like, it's just this attitude of, like, everyone thinks about themselves first. Don't care. Don't care, and if there's a law, a rule, or whatever, who cares? That doesn't apply to me. And if I break it, whatever, no one's gonna do anything. It's just this, like, really horrible attitude that people have. And then even so, I'm part of I kind of take some of these back roads to get to the highway. So I went through this, like, little, up here in Massachusetts they call them Rotary, other states they call them circle, other states they call them a roundabout, whatever. You get the idea. And I have to, when I go to it, like, I basically go off, like, you go onto it, and I get off the first little exit, if you will, and get on the highway. So you just have to be. I hate, personally, I don't like circles or rotaries or whatever. They're just they're confusing, right? And there's, like, you're not sure whether you should stay on a certain side of the road or whatever. So they're difficult as they are. However, when I observed there's this truck behind me. It wasn't like a pickup truck. It was like a work truck. It had some equipment on it and whatever, a little bigger than a pickup truck. And I look in my rearview mirror like you're supposed to, right? Like check your mirrors periodically, and and sure enough, this guy comes up behind me, and I was like, well, he gets into the rotary, and no signal, just gets off, and that impacts the other people who are ahead, who are waiting to get onto the rotary, because if they see that he's signaling, they know they can go out. But if they don't see a signal, they assume he's going all the way around. So it's just, again, selfish effing behavior. And then when I exited the rotary, like I have to maybe go 100 feet, and then probably more like 500 feet, and then you make a right onto the highway. And I was looking again in my rearview mirror, and sure enough, he's behind me. Doesn't signal to get on the highway. Then once we get on the highway, and you have to like merge to your left because that lane will end. No turn signal. It's just like, nope, who cares? It's just like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and what's the problem? And it's just, again, really annoying. And look, I get that like sometimes you're driving and GPS is a pain, because it'll be like, next left 300 feet, and then you're like, whoa, like that wasn't 300 feet, that was much sooner than that, and like you quickly react to make that turn. That happens to all of us, and that's not what I'm talking about. I also get what's going through a red light. There could be an emergency, right? Like, I get it. Or like, this is bad, but like I even get this, like, hey, you might be late for an important work meeting or something like that. Pick up your kids, drop them off, and like you come to that red light and you're like, there's no one around anywhere, I'm gonna go right through it. Maybe, I get it. But like this guy was doing about speed limit, came to the traffic light, and then decided that he wasn't gonna wait for the red light, and then continue on doing speed limit. Like, so he clearly was not in a hurry. He just couldn't be bothered with following the rules. If you don't like the rules, there's ways to go about changing them. Just don't constantly break them. And I get it. Like some rules are ridiculous, and like laws and all, but technically it's the law. And then the last example I want to give. This happened last week. Again, just do what you want. Who cares? No ramifications. So I was driving the Suburban, and my kids were in the vehicle with me. And where we were actually on vacation. So where we were, there's kind of like it's Route 1, like through southern Delaware, and it's just like there's stretches, there's like nothing but sand dunes, and speed limit's 55, whatever, do 65, do 70, whatever. And then it will drop down, it warns you, it says reduce speed limit ahead. Signs have been there for like decades. Reduce speed limit ahead, you drop down to 35, and then ultimately you drop down to 25 because you're going through a beach community, Dewey Beach, and there is pedestrian traffic galore, like galore. And what they did is they recently added this past year, they've always had crosswalks, of course, but they added those crosswalks that like they flash like yellow when people are like crossing, which as a driver I think is awesome, because then it becomes very clear that you need to like really pay attention because somebody's about to cross the street. Whereas like I find when you drive through those areas, you have to drive with your head on a swivel and be super alert, because people won't use the crosswalks, and it's like in a community, a beach community like that, that's what I expect. Like that's what it is, so like I don't get angry or impatient. Like I just know that stretch of, it's probably a half mile or so, if that, you just have to really pay attention. And then speed limit will go back up to 35, and it kind of goes back up again. So that's kind of explaining the context of this. So when I was driving on the highway, and if I'm like like not passing cars, like I'm in the right lane, you know, like I stay in the right lane. But if the flow of traffic in the right lane is slower than I want to go, I move to the left lane, and then once I clear the cars I want to get around, I move back to the right lane. It's just like, I feel like that's like as common as like embedded in the brain is like changing your underwear every day. Like you just like that's how you drive, you know. So I noticed like coming up and like way in my rearview mirror, there was this Expedition like coming up fast, and I was at this point in the left lane because I was moving faster than the cars in the right lane, and still in those instances, I get like I will actually slow down to merge with the traffic in the right lane to let whoever's bearing down on me by, like as long as the people in the right lane are doing speed limit or more. It's just like I just don't want someone riding my bumper. Well, anyway, I couldn't get back over. Speed limit was dropping to 35, so I just like, usually when I see those reduced speed ahead, I just let off the gas and let the car kind of like go down to the speed limit. This guy was like on my bumper, like in the 35 zone, and I couldn't get in the right lane at that point because there was just so many cars. And I was like, well, I'm doing 45 and a 35, and this guy is on my bumper. And then we reduced down to 25 on my bumper, and he then like sees an opening in the right lane, floors it, and like comes around, and then comes around, like basically realizes he can't pass me on the wrong side because there's a car in front of me doing speed limit. So he gets stuck coming over, which pushes my vehicle, pushes me into the turning lane. Well, thankfully there's a turning lane there, and then so like he basically ran me off the road because he wants to do 65 and a 25, and then he realized that like none of these cars are moving because like we are legit in a pedestrian area. So he goes back to the right lane because I think he thinks it's faster now. So I have an opportunity, and this is where I realize I have kids in the car, and my temperature is boiling at that point. Boiling. Like it's one thing if you're speeding, but then when you come up on people who are following the rules or the law, like but just back off, and then like when things open up again, go speed. Instead, do not try to impose your will on the other drivers. So I, against better judgment, I thought kept it fairly cool. When he was back in the right lane and we caught at the light, I pulled up door handle to door handle, rolled down the passenger front window, and had words with him. And then I realized like, hey, my kids are in the car. Like, so I just put the window back up, and like, you know, he was kind of jawing a little bit at me. I couldn't hear what he was saying at that point because I had my window up, and I think his window was back up. And I thought, and I don't condone this. I absolutely don't condone this. But sometimes when you're in those moments, like I actually thought to myself, my kids being in a car was actually a very good restraint for me because I'm a calm guy. I'm also physically a big guy. I'm not like 6'5", 280 guy, but like I'm a strong, fit, muscular, like I'll just put it this way, trained individual. And this guy, despite my age being in the late 40s, this guy looked like he was in his young 30s. It would have ended very quickly for him. And so I am glad that didn't happen because I don't want to harm anyone. But at the same time, I just wish people would stop constantly be thinking of themselves and think about others, like in societies where we have to function together. Like if you're on a country road and nobody's there, like whatever. But like that's not the reality. The reality, like even like when I was out there running and that person ran the light, I thought to myself, if I was just further up, like that guy would have ran the light while I was running through the intersection. Like, come on. Now maybe he wouldn't have, but there have been instances. This happened. I can't remember if it happened last month in June or now that'd be 2 months ago, or if it was in July when I was in New Jersey. So I was going for a morning run, and it was that time in morning where like it's just getting light out, like you can see without lights or anything like that. And I'm running on this sidewalk, and this car pulls up to a stop sign out of like a parking lot, and I knew she didn't see me. I knew it because she never looked. She never looked left, right. I saw her looking straight ahead, and she just went to. So what I did was, to make my point, I knew she didn't see me, and she didn't have a turn signal on, and she looked like she was, just the way she was holding her wheel, that like she was going to be turning left. So I knew she wasn't going to hit me. So that for like effect and to make a point, I actually stepped into the street, and then she started to go and I threw my hands in the air, and I said, "Hey," and her window was down, and I said to her, and when I ran past the hood of her car, I looked right at her, and I just said, look where you're going." And so then I was running, and then she finally made her left, and then she rolled her window down. I don't think she was saying something attacking me. I think I couldn't hear what she was saying. I think she was apologizing or something like that, and I just yelled back, "Look." So I want, just stop thinking about yourself all the time. Think and be aware of your surroundings. And well, some people are aware of their surroundings and they don't like it, so they just do what they want to do. So I just ask, please, when you're out there, think of the pedestrians, think of other motorists, and unless it's an emergency, your wife's going into labor, you're super late for picking up your kids, which there's really no excuse, you shouldn't be, but even in those situations where it calls for it, still be safe, right? And I'll give you an example. There's times I have accidentally cut somebody off, because I was looking for a street sign or whatever, and the person just blows up. They've even given me the finger. A lot of times what I'll do is, this is what drives me crazy. People who are wrong, they cut you off, and then you react, the other person reacts and flicks them off or whatever, and then the original person who did the cutting off gets all it's well, you were in the wrong, so why are you now doubling down? It doesn't make sense. So for example, if I have accidentally cut somebody off, and I'm sure it'll happen again in the future, it's oh, that street sign, kind of thing, blinker last second, or maybe no blinker or whatever, and you cut somebody off, and I get the horn and maybe the middle finger, I literally, this is what I do, if I'm behind them and I see them looking at me in the mirror, I do the my bad, or I'll go, that was on me. Own it, we all make mistakes or do things like that, but just own it. Instead, what I could have done is, if they're F you, blah, 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 I could have been no, F you, get out of the car, pull over, F yourself, you can't drive. So I think what we need to do as a society is just reinforce these things. So if I make a mistake, just hey, my bad, I'm sorry, my bad, sorry man, sorry. And then usually the other person calms down right away. They're okay, just moving on. There's that, and then just being on the road and just obey the freaking laws. And I don't even speeding. If you're on an interstate and you're doing 85 and you're just moving along and you're being safe, who cares, right? And I'm not saying I'm here to judge people. I'm just asking for people to pay attention and think about others before they're thinking about themselves when they're out there. But when you're in a congested area and speed limit drops to 25, there's no reason to do 55, 65 through a pedestrian area, and then call out other motorists for being the ones who are jerks. Like, it's not necessary. Of course it's dangerous, right? Like, I'm not here to like make everyone out to be like wimpy or whatever, but just there's no reason for the road rage and to set people off like this. Because if my kids weren't in a car, that could have ended badly. Like, that could have really ended badly, because because you're not thinking in your right frame of mind. Like, sitting here, I'm like, oh, well, I would just maybe give them the finger or whatever and be done with it. But like, when you're that upset, because a guy like ran me off the road, so like anyone who runs anyone off the road, it's going to elevate your anger big time, and your rage. It's going to trigger it. And I likely would have retaliated, cut him off to the point where he couldn't move, and then get out of the car. And it would have been bad for him, which ultimately it would have been very bad for me. And that's the irony. It's like, I watch people break rules all the time, and I'm like, like, my luck, I break a rule, and like, that's the time someone decides to throw out a consequence, like a ticket, a ticket for running a light, or a ticket for like blowing through a crosswalk while people are walking through, like, or but it seems like there's not police around when you need them sometimes. And the irony is, that area that I was referring to with that other motorist, like, there are usually police all over that place, and he just caught it at the right time. Good for him. And here's the thing, like, I don't hate the guy. Like, I don't hate him. Like, guy was just not using his head and thinking about himself first. Like, there's no reason to hate anyone. There's reasons to hate behavior. Yes. So, all right. Well, I had to get that off my chest, because I had a couple incidences this morning. 3 things, like 2 people to turn signal, running the red light, and it's not even 8:30 in the morning. And then I had that incident last week, and that really bothered me. So please be safe. I love you guys. Just think about your fellow human for a second, and look both ways. Comment, like, subscribe. Love to hear in the comments if you've observed this as well, or witnessed this, and how it made you felt. Throw that in the comments. I can't be the only one who's picked up on this change in behavior and kind of humans towards each other, and with regards to themselves. All right, well, see you on the next one, and comment, like, subscribe.